Good afternoon, everybody. It is a true pleasure to host this meeting and welcome you. I want to take a couple of minutes to thank in particular our special guest, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, Councilwoman Dinia Cabral from the city of Doral, City Manager Peter Iglesias from the city of Coral Gables, City Manager Albert Childress from the city of Doral, members of the Rosenstiel School Dean's Advisory Committee, Wanda Zeisser, Cheryl Gold, Bill Galway, and Chris Stolz. Thank you all for being here and sharing this unique opportunity to celebrate a great achievement for the school as well as for NOAA. Let me first introduce President Julio Frank. As a first-generation physician, Julio Frank has been president of the University of Miami since 2015. Prior to joining he served for nearly 7 years as the dean of the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. Dr. Frank was the Minister of Health of Mexico from 2000 to 2006. He was the founding Director General of the National Institute of Public Health in Mexico. He also served as Executive Director of the World Health Organization and a Senior Fellow in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. COVID-19 is the 5th pandemic in which President Frank has played a leadership role, and we are very fortunate to have his experience and commitment to research as we navigate these unprecedented times. President Frank.
Thank you very much, Dean Avisar. I am delighted to be part of the launch of the new NOAA Cooperative Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Studies, CIMAS, at the University of Miami's Rosenstiel School of Marine and Atmospheric Science. At the outset, I just want to take a moment to echo Dean Avisar's welcome and thanks to our special guests and to the Dean's Advisory Committee. We really appreciate your support. You know, if there's one thing that 2020 has highlighted, it is the crucial role that research plays in addressing global challenges. The Rosenstiel School offers compelling examples of the ways we at the University of Miami are carrying out our research mission. Established in 1977, the Cooperative Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Studies at the Rosenstiel School has served as a mechanism to bring UM's research resources together with those of NOAA to foster excellence in research and education targeted at understanding the Earth's oceans, atmosphere, and marine ecosystem. The University of Miami is truly proud to lead one of only 16 NOAA cooperative institutes in the United States. And one of CIMAS' great strength is the scientific and technological expertise provided by the Rosenstiel School and its consortium partners, which include the Caribbean Regional Association Coastal Ocean Observing System, Florida Atlantic University, Florida Institute of Technology, Florida International University, NOVA Southeastern University, University of Florida, University of South Florida, and the University of the Virgin Islands. Our collaboration with NOAA CIMAS allows us to conduct mission-driven research which addresses hemispheric and locally relevant problems. Even as we are living through this global pandemic, this year, we shouldn't forget that there are other global challenges. So as we're dealing with the pandemic, as you all know, this year we have experienced a record-setting hurricane season, extreme rainfall and unprecedented droughts, and forest fires in California and in Australia, among other places, rising sea levels, and continued threats to already endangered coral reefs and marine resources. Marine and atmospheric studies that will be conducted by CIMAS and its consortium collaborators are vital to Florida's and the region's futures, and indeed to the world's future. You will be hearing more about the research agenda from Professor and CIMAS Director Ben Kirkman and his team. I want to congratulate Dean Avisar, Professor Kirkman, and our NOAA collaborators, John Cortinas and Clay Porch, for the opportunities before us to generate new and important scientific knowledge that will help guide us for planning and adapting to a changing climate. Thank you all for marking this important milestone with us today. Back to you, Dean Avisar.
Thank you so much, President Frank. I really appreciate. And next, I would like to introduce Professor Jeffrey Dirk. Professor Dirk is the Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost at the University of Miami. He's the Chief Academic Officer, who is appointing and oversight authorities on all the deans of the different schools and all the senior administrators involved with research, undergrad and graduate education, and all the other academic affairs. He has primary responsibility for budgetary matters regarding academic and research initiatives. Before joining Professor Dirk was the Dean of the School of Engineering at Case Western Research University. He's an expert in biomedical imaging, especially magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. He holds more than 40 patents and has been awarded numerous National Institute of Health and industry-sponsored grants. He has published nearly 200 peer-reviewed scientific articles. In 2017, he was inducted as a fellow into the National Academy of Inventors, which recognizes academic achievement, innovation, and scientific discovery. Dr. Dirk.
Thank you, Ronnie and President Frank, for the invitation to speak at the launch of CIMAS and also Ben Kertman's birthday celebration. Conducting relevant research is truly a key foundational cornerstone of the University of Miami. And this cooperative institute will build on its legacy of highly successful research and infrastructure accomplishments from the previous cooperative institute. As everyone knows, CIMAS will provide innovative science, service, and stewardship to align with NOAA's mission, and will conduct and coordinate innovative research in several important and impactful ways. These include tropical weather observations, analyses and predictions, ocean and climate observations, analysis and prediction, ecosystem observations, modeling, forecasting and management, and protection and restoration of marine resources. And we will continue to accelerate scientific innovation under each of these themes. One example, and I think you'll understand why it's interesting to me, is to improve hurricane intensity forecasts. As a newcomer, relative newcomer to South Florida, it was in my first 10 weeks that I encountered Hurricane Irma. And it was only then that I realized the scope and scale of hurricanes. Prior to that, I might have thought about blizzards and 40 inches of snow coming from Cleveland, Ohio. But it was really this understanding of the physics and science behind what goes into a hurricane that really got me curious. And what I understand now is this requires implementing multiple moving high resolution modeling techniques while simultaneously capturing an array of tropical systems in the developing unified forecast system, quantitatively assessing the utility of various in situ ocean and atmospheric observation, and now also potentially building in machine learning techniques. And I think the machine learning techniques now is really something that's interesting as well. The planned machine learning activities are a high profile example of how CIMAS will leverage the newly established University of Miami Institute for Data Science and Computing and the high performance computing capabilities housed within it. Most of you probably don't know that IDISC, the Institute for Data Science and Computing, employs one of the top 5 high performance computing systems in an academic setting in our country. Who would have thought the University of Miami would have such infrastructure? But it's because of CIMAS, the vision for IDISC, that we have the opportunity to bring together complex state-of-the-art data science techniques that'll catalyze hurricane prediction models, intensity forecasts, environmental data assessments, and complex fishery models. CIMAS provides significant number of jobs to world-class researchers and allows the University of Miami to demonstrate not only our capacity, but also our commitment to developing effective solutions to societal problems while we transform the next generation of tomorrow's scientific leaders. So I want to thank our friends at NOAA, our collaborators at NOAA, Dean Avisar and in particular Ben Kurtman for your leadership and commitment to building a better you, as well as building a better planet. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ronnie. Back to you both.
Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate your comments. And I would like to introduce now somebody that doesn't need to be introduced to this community, and that's Professor Ben Kurtman, who is a world-class renowned climatologist, and as you all very well know, is the director also of CIMAS. But before heading CIMAS, Ben has also provided tremendous leadership to the Rosenstiel School as our Associate Dean for Research and to the scientific community by leading multiple panels and committees, as well as leading one of the most important scientific journals as its editor. Obviously, Rasmus and the University of Miami owe a lot to Professor Kurtman, and I would like to use this opportunity for thanking him for his continuous and brilliant leadership. And I didn't know that, but thanks to Jeff, also to congratulate him on his 35th birthday. Ben, all yours.
Thank you, Ronnie. I really appreciate the birthday wishes. And Professor Dirk, Provost Dirk, asked if this is my one tie day per year. He asked me if it was because of my birthday or because of this event. I declined to answer because it's only one tie per year. I'm going to go ahead and share a few slides to just give you some sense of what CIMAS is for those of you that don't know. And of course, I hope that fosters some questions as we go forward. This is sort of the playing field for CIMAS that I'm putting on the map here. And it's really important to recognize how many institutions are involved and how many moving parts that CIMAS has. And we're really proud of all of our academic partners, all listed here. And of course, our partners across the street are most important. Of course, the Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory and NOAA Fisheries across the street. This is where the magic happens. And the way I think about CIMAS is it's enabling actionable science by integrating the basic research that we do at the university with the mission-driven research that's done at AOML and fisheries across the street. We have to have a global perspective because climate and weather, they don't know boundaries. It's all over the world. So we have to have a global perspective, but we always come back to making sure it has a regional focus, that it produces science that can drive climate adaptation, adaptation to extreme weather events, and how the marine ecosystem needs to adapt and adjust and be protected. So all of those things, that global perspective with a regional focus is critical to the success of CIMAS and our partnership with our NOAA allies across the street. One example of how the magic happens when you bring together this sort of basic research and mission-driven research is just these two award-winning papers. And it's really remarkable that in 2017 and 2019, two separate teams produced award-winning papers. These won the Banner Miller Award. It's a really prestigious award from the American Meteorological Society. And each of these papers included faculty and staff, CIMAS scientists, and NOAA scientists. In terms of the magic, just between 2014 and 2019, we published over 650 peer-reviewed papers from the CIMAS-NOAA collaboration. Really quite remarkable. As has been mentioned, CIMAS is this new cooperative institute is organized around 4 themes. One theme is tropical weather analysis, observations, and predictions. And as Professor Dirk noted, it's really a challenge to figure out how to blend those observations that we take and put them in our models and use them to make better predictions. This is harder than rocket science. This is really a challenging enterprise, and that's a big part of our collaboration. Theme 2, of course, is this ocean and climate analysis, where we have in our collaboration with NOAA, we have a large responsibility for much of the observing system in the Atlantic Ocean. That includes throwing drones over the side of ships, but maintaining arrays in the deep ocean to understand how the climate system adjusts to increasing greenhouse gases and other forcings. We do marine ecosystems observations, modeling and forecasting and management. This is critical. The protein to feed the world is in the future is largely going to be fish-based. And we need to be able to manage our fisheries so that we can feed the world and feed ourselves, and making sure that those fisheries are sustainable and resilient. That requires careful management and understanding and modeling, and that's part of what we do. And then, of course, our coral reefs is just one example of how we work together to preserve our coral reefs and restore our coral reefs, protect our marine resources. There's such an integral part of Florida's ecosystem, if you will. Our tourism, our industry, everything is really very dependent on these coral reefs. Huge amounts of tourism is associated with that. Protecting those coral reefs in face of those challenges is something very important that we do. The other thing about CIMAS, besides those 4 research themes that I want to touch on, is the infrastructure that the University of Miami is bringing to the table. And this is a critical component of our collaboration, is that NOAA can rely on this infrastructure to further their mission-driven science. And one of the great examples is this laboratory that we've set up on the Rosenstiel campus that is run by CIMAS scientists in collaboration with the NOAA scientists. It's a collaborative experimental reef laboratory. And it's really a fantastic lab to look at what stresses these coral reefs in terms of temperature and CO2 in the ocean and how they adapt to that. This lab, we raise up any opportunity to have tours and show people, because it's just such a unique collaboration among all the cooperative institutes, this in place, NOAA scientists, scientists, CIMAS scientists, all working together to better understand how coral reefs adapt to stressors. And then, of course, we have our brand new Splash Scientific Dive Training Facility. Lovely picture of this blue pool here, looking totally pristine just after it was built. This is, again, infrastructure for training the next generation of scientists in scientific research diving that the University of Miami can use to support NOAA's science-driven mission. We have an experimental hatchery and aquaculture facility that we've already talked about. We're growing fish from fingerlings to platefish, and that technology and that innovation is something that NOAA is going to be able to leverage as they think about how to manage the world's fisheries. The sustain tank, everyone has seen pictures of this before, this incredible facility. I get, even every time I walk in there, my heart goes pitter-pat, because this place is just amazing to study air-sea interactions in an environment, in a laboratory environment. This is really unique in a saltwater laboratory environment to actually make that breakthrough to understand what determines the intensity of hurricanes. I'm expecting that this facility is going to tell us how to do a better job of predicting the intensity of hurricanes going forward, and is truly a unique facility in the world. It is amazing. And of course, we have the Walton Smith, and we have the helicopter observation platform, HOP. Again, infrastructure advancements that is part of our partnership with NOAA that they can take advantage of. The last one I want to mention in terms of the infrastructure advancements is IDISC, the Institute for Data Science and Computing, as Provost Dirk has mentioned, top 5 academic computing in 2019. These things change really fast, so it probably isn't in the top 5 in 2020. What's so important about this machine, however, is that it's the only machine that we know of that is specifically designed to advance machine learning and artificial intelligence. And in addition to that, IDISC has a team of data science experts that, again, NOAA and their scientists can leverage to advance their mission of science, service, and stewardship. And so this is a fabulous facility that we're really hoping can help NOAA manage its high-performance computing needs. It doesn't have enough high-performance computing for research, and NOAA's push to advance using machine learning and artificial intelligence in meeting its mission. So I'm going to close here with an earlier slide. And when I think about this statement that I wrote here, enabling actionable science by integrating basic and mission-driven research with a global perspective and a regional focus, all of those words actually mean something to me. It's not just a salad here. It is, we really do want to have actionable science. We really, the magic happens when we bring together basic and mission-driven research. And there are many, 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 many examples from CIMAS. I've only been able to show you 1 or 2. And you have to, when you think about the global weather and climate and ecosystem, you have to think on global scales. but you need also to have a regional focus to make sure that science is actionable. Those are all the parts that we seek to bring together as we move forward for the next 5 years with what we think is going to be a truly big breakthrough in understanding how our weather and climate and ecosystem works. So I'm going to stop there with the presentation, and then following the, they have this Deanna Udell, who I have to thank very much for organizing this and writing the show, the run of show. I, of course, always screw these things up. I apologize in advance getting the order wrong, but I think I have it right. And I want to really thank Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz for joining us today. She's the Congresswoman from Florida's 23rd District. She's, in terms of the context here, most notably, she's a member on the Energy and Water Subcommittee. Wasserman Schultz has been a leading advocate to protect the Florida Everglades, something we care about very much here. And she has taken concrete action on trying to figure out how our society can adapt and mitigate to climate change. She has always been a great supporter of NOAA's efforts in terms of meeting that mission of science, service, and stewardship, and a real big advocate for advancing NOAA on Capitol Hill in terms of AOML and Southeastern Fisheries Science Center. So we're deeply indebted to her service as a Congresswoman, and deeply indebted to her commitment to advancing the mission of CIMAS and NOAA. So Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz, thank you very much. I pass it to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kurtman. And I just deeply appreciate the invitation to join you today in this really exciting announcement to share in the celebration of the launch of the University of Miami's Cooperative Institute for Marine and Atmosphere Studies, or CIMAS. And I wish we could all be together on Virginia Key today to celebrate. First, let me absolutely congratulate Dean Ronnie Avisar, President Julio Frank, the faculty, the students, and everyone else who's contributed to the renowned and continued success of the Rosenstiel School and CIMAS. We are just so proud of you. I have to tell you, I love bragging on, which is why they're probably trying to steal you from us, but love bragging on the expertise that is centered in and around the University of Miami Rosenstiel School. You have made Miami proud, and you have made Florida proud. And you should be proud of yourselves. This is an incredible achievement for to win this opportunity to continue to host CIMAS and the $310 million that comes with it. This launch today represents the culmination of more than 4 decades of hard work and groundbreaking research. CIMAS confronts big, important problems: climate change, hurricanes, rising sea levels, and the health of marine ecosystems. The research that you all undertake is critical because few issues are more significant to South Florida, and really so many other areas, which is ground zero for climate change. Climate change for us is not a someday thing, it's a right now thing. And those of us who live here, live through that reality every day. I know one of the goals of CIMAS is to respond to emerging science needs at NOAA and put research into action. For example, I know that your work has improved hurricane forecasts, created tools to forecast flood risk, and bolstered our understanding of how coral reefs reduce storm surge. CIMAS represents the best of how government and non-governmental institutions can work together to advance research, enhance policymaking, and improve people's lives. And the partnership works so well because, simply put, the federal government can provide the resources and academic institutions can provide the ingenuity and raw talent. And that's why I'm able to use my position as a senior appropriator to push every year to increase funding for NOAA and its accounts that fund competitive research and cooperative institutes. The partnership also works because, as has been stated during this conversation, that has the National Hurricane Center, Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory. We got to cut down on these names of these agencies. My gosh, and Southeast Fisheries Science Center within its backyard. For that reason, I staunchly defend our appropriations bills from any riders meant to relocate NOAA labs away from South Florida. Your work and your partnerships show that this is where they belong. Those are not the only attacks we've faced, though. Over the past 4 years, I know I've had to work with my colleagues on the Appropriations Committee to stave off Donald Trump's attempts to eliminate NOAA's Climate Competitive Research Account, to cut funds for cooperative institutes, and to decrease the budget of the National Weather Service. And we've not just on a bipartisan basis rejected the cuts to those programs, we've won increases for them. Our partnership in the delegation that represents Miami-Dade County and the whole state of Florida is really a bipartisan, tightly wound, very tight-knit effort where we fight together on behalf of Florida. And I'm very happy that come next year, we'll no longer have an administration that's constantly working to undermine the efforts of great public servants at NOAA and their partners at great research institutions like As a congresswoman who represents part of Miami-Dade proudly, I commit to you all that I will continue to work hard to push for greater federal investments in the world-changing work performed by cooperative institutes like CIMAS. Congratulations on your continued success, and it's an honor to join you this morning.
Thank you, Congressman Wasserman Schultz. Really appreciate all your hard work and your very kind words. In terms of the run of show, I would like to introduce two of my associate directors of part of CIMAS, Emily Becker, Dr. Emily Becker. She just joined us a little over a year ago. We're really excited to have Emily on board. Previously, she was working at the Climate Prediction Center in College Park, Maryland, and was leading a number of efforts to improve NOAA's seasonal outlooks. She's going to tell us a little bit about theme 1 and theme 2 a little bit more. I have two associate directors, David D.A., who's been with CIMAS as long as I can remember. David has done tremendous service as an associate director and continues to be a key advisor as we go forward. I typically think of Emily and David each having two themes that they're sort of principally helping me with. But overall, they have a portfolio that covers all of the Cooperative Institute. But I just want to take this opportunity to really thank them for their service, helping to improve the proposal and ensure we continue to get funding and ensure we continue to do great research in service of the mission-driven science. So let me first start with Emily, and then David will say a few words. So Emily.
Thank you so much, Ben. I'm really excited to be with CIMAS, particularly during such a time of growth and this new launch. It's very exciting for me. So I'm very glad to be here. I'm going to cover a couple more details of research themes 1 and 2, which Ben introduced for us. Theme 1 is tropical weather observation, analysis, and prediction. This includes developing and testing of instrumentation. We have a broad definition of instrumentation, including the evaluation and use of new techniques and tools such as artificial intelligence and machine learning. Also, identifying observational needs and optimizing observation networks. This includes the use of automated and remote operated systems, and also studying optimal configurations for these networks. Also, predictive modeling and data assimilation of tropical weather systems is an important focus point, with an emphasis on extreme weather systems, such as hurricanes and tropical depressions, and also that research to operations transition that's been mentioned a couple of times already. This is a very important focus, and there's a vast quantity of basic science research done that we can move towards operations to improve predictions and meet the needs of NOAA's operational line offices. Another element of this is operations feeding back into research is an important connection there. And then finally, focus on the progress toward integrated Earth system modeling. This includes developing analysis and forecasting applications for operations leading towards integrated Earth system modeling. An example of theme 1 is NOAA's Hurricane Hunter program. This program involves specially equipped NOAA aircraft that fly into hurricanes, collecting data to help forecasters make accurate predictions during a hurricane and to help hurricane researchers achieve a better understanding of storm processes and improve their forecast models. CIMAS researchers support the NOAA Hurricane Hunters extensively, including flying aboard the planes and analyzing the collected data, and they have been very, very busy this year, as I'm sure we are all aware. Data collected by this program is critical to effective predictions by NOAA's hurricane weather research and forecast HWRF model. CIMAS research theme 2, Ocean and Climate Observation Analysis and Prediction, includes a focus on understanding oceanic and atmospheric processes associated with global and regional climate variability and change. This is both short-term and long-term variability of the climate system that affect biological, chemical, and geophysical processes in the Southeast US coastal areas, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, and the high seas Atlantic Ocean. Theme 2 also includes determining effective regional adaptation strategies and developing and studying new climate information products and tools appropriate for evolving user needs, again, particularly in the Southeast US and the Caribbean. Also a focus on observations necessary for understanding geophysical, chemical, and biological processes, and ocean and coastal observation networks, including remote operated systems. This has a specific focus areas for these observation networks, include an emphasis on the global carbon cycle, ocean acidification, and ocean variability. Also, an important point is the use of these observations in information product development, including machine learning and artificial intelligence and Earth system modeling. Also, a focus of theme 2 is improving model representation of ocean processes. An example of these is small-scale ocean current eddies, which when they're resolved in a model can result in much finer prediction. An example under theme 2 is the Argo program. This is an international program deploying and maintaining thousands of floats to monitor temperature and salinity in the upper 2 kilometers of the ocean. Assimilation of Argo data into weather and climate models has been demonstrated to substantially improve forecasts. CIMAS researchers are integrally involved in this program, from the engineering of the floats to their deployment and the analysis of Argo observation data. Finally, I briefly wanted to touch on a program we are currently developing, the CIMAS undergraduate internship programs. These will be partnerships with Miami-Dade College and the Tribal Colleges Network, and they'll pair undergraduates with CIMAS and NOAA scientists. As I said, this program is currently under development. We're hoping to have our first batch of interns for summer 2021. Students will develop their own research agendas individually with mentors and will have ownership of their own research program or research projects. The students will gain research experience and important qualifications. However, University of Miami, CIMAS, and NOAA will also gain from this program in that they'll have a source of future students and members of the workforce. David will touch on this pipeline extending from undergraduate students to the NOAA workforce in his talk. So I will pass the baton to him now. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Ben, for the introduction. I hope you can see my slide. So I'm David Dier. I've been involved in CIMAS for the longest time, and really CIMAS launched my professional career. But I'm going to talk to you today about two more themes, research themes. Ecosystem observations, modeling, forecasting, and management is the first thing I'll speak about. And this is basically about supporting and providing scientific products that support the management of marine ecosystems and marine resources. And what I'm going to do is just give you present a couple of examples from each of the themes. So Ben mentioned that the work that we do extends from global to regional. This is work conducted throughout the shelf of the Atlantic shelf of the US, and that uses the latest technology in tracking animals in the marine environment. These are satellite tags that we put on fish and that pop up and allow us to follow the migration of these fish. This is recent work done on cow-nose rays. And cow-nose rays, as you didn't know, are a predator for oysters and scallops. And we are trying through this work understanding how these relationships between the predator, the rays, and the prey, the scallops, may actually influence our ability to have productive aquaculture. we not only are we able to follow their migration, but also their diving behavior, and that also tells us about how they actually interact with the aquaculture industry. The second theme that I'll be speaking about is the theme on the protection and restoration of marine resources. And here, as Ben alluded to, we're trying to support the sustainability of ecosystems that are very important for all of us, including some of the regional ecosystems that we all know. You are very well aware of the reef ecosystems and corals, but also of some of the shallow water ecosystems, such those that are on the edges of our bays, like mangroves and seagrasses. This project looked at the effects of hurricanes on these communities of fish and invertebrates that are in the coastal areas. And this is important because these areas are not only providing food and resources for and recreation for us, but also, as has been mentioned many times over, can actually guarantee some measure of protection against hurricane impacts. You can see here that we had an array of stations, both collecting data on the fish communities as well as on the environment. And we looked at the effects of the passage of the hurricane. The path of the passage of the hurricane is in this graph here. And you can see that when the hurricane passed, it actually dropped the oxygen levels in the nearshore area dramatically. We showed through this research that the drop in oxygen levels actually had some dramatic effect on some of the fish communities. By understanding the natural changes that occur as a consequence of storms, of climate variability and climate change, we can better then understand what are the impacts that our human actions in the ecosystems produce. Things like how harvest, how coastal development actually have impact. Only can we separate those impacts if we understand actually what the natural fluctuations are. I think this is particularly important now that we've seen this year this large number of hurricanes and large number of storms that are coming to shore, and understanding the impacts of these storms on the ecosystem and on the fish communities. But like Emily mentioned, the CIMAS has also a strong priority on education and investment on the development of workforce for NOAA in support of the NOAA sciences. We have a pipeline of work where we educate students in graduate school at PhD, master's level. We also hire postdocs and research associates and scientists, early career, mid-career scientists through CIMAS. These people end up staying or actually leaving the pipeline within CIMAS and actually joining a number of institutions that support the mission of NOAA, including federal agencies, obviously like NOAA, but other federal agencies like NASA, many of the state and local and regional environmental agencies and fish and wildlife departments, universities, but also private industries and NGOs. And we've been doing that, like Ben was saying, for decades now. And I think an example of the successes of this pipeline are, for instance, Dr. Clay Porsche, who you'll hear from shortly. He graduated in 1993 with the support of CIMAS, and he's now the director of the NOAA Southeast Fisheries Science Center here in Miami. Dr. Aisha Brinson graduated also with the support of CIMAS in 2008, and after working with NOAA in Washington, D.C. for a number of years, she's now a senior environmental economist at the Department of Treasury. Chris Keble, who graduated from Miami University in 2010, is now a division director at AOML. Dr. Zink, who's the author of that work in Florida Bay, graduated in 2017, and he's now a postdoctoral associate. And finally, some of our students actually get jobs with NOAA federal agencies before they even finish their graduate degree. And I think that's a tremendous show of success of the strength of our graduate program and how well we prepare them for the jobs in the real world. And she's now already a fishery stock assessment scientist again at the Southeast Fishery Science Center. So this pipeline has been here for a long time, but as Emily was saying, we are now introducing or extending the pipeline to earlier recruiting earlier scientists, those in high schools, and also through our collaboration with local educational partners. And with that, I want to thank you for your attention, and I'll answer any questions later on. Thanks.
Thank you, David. That was great. I we'd like to save the best for last, and so we are deeply indebted to our NOAA partners across the street. And so I'm really pleased to have this opportunity to introduce to you Dr. John Cortinas, who is the director of AOML, and Dr. Clay Porch, who is the director of the Miami lab for the NOAA Southeastern Fisheries Science Center. John got his PhD from Georgia Tech. I'm not going to tell you when, but he got his PhD from Georgia Tech. He started his career as a Cooperative Institute scientist at the University of Oklahoma, one of the other 16 cooperative institutes. He rose in the ranks there, eventually becoming the director, and then moved to NOAA, became the program director for the entire Cooperative Institute program. He was also the program director for the weather and air quality program, which is now the weather prediction program. John has been extremely influential in NOAA leadership. What's truly most impressive about John is he is just a passionate advocate for underrepresented groups in science. He has taken that on in spades in terms of what he's doing at AOML, and really pushing us hard to make sure we search for the best and brightest, and make sure that underrepresented groups get brought into the best and brightest. So we're deeply indebted for John for that. And I also want to note that in 2019, John was inducted as a fellow of the American Meteorological Society. So congratulations, John. Now, let me talk a little bit about Clay. As David has already stated, Clay got his PhD from Rasmus, and David let the cat out of the bag. He said when. Clay has just an incredible pile of influential publications and science success. He has numerous NOAA Leadership Awards, including the Administrators Award, 2 bronze medals, NOAA bronze medals, among many other things. So it's a great pleasure to introduce both Dr. John Cortinas, Director of AOML, and Dr. Clay Porch, Director of the Miami Lab for NOAA Southeastern Fisheries Science Center. John.
Well, thank you, Ben. It's a pleasure to share in this celebration with you and University of Miami, as well as your other academic partners. I think the previous presenters have all highlighted just the amazing things that the University of Miami, as well as your academic partners, bring to NOAA and enable us to accomplish not only for the local Florida region, but for the entire United States, and with global contributions as well. So I think it's a phenomenal partnership. We've enjoyed working with the university for many years now, and a lot of the successes that you've already highlighted are a result of that very important partnership. On the NOAA side, particularly at AOML, we could not accomplish what we have done for the American public without the partnership that we have with this Cooperative Institute. It's been clear for many years, and it's definitely clear today. As was pointed out earlier, the problems that we have to address from the research perspective are numerous, and they really require a very diverse set of experts. And that's one thing that the Cooperative Institute brings to this partnership, is the diversity in terms of the expertise and capabilities, as well as the facility. Ben highlighted so many of the important facilities that we now have access to, which we would not have if we had not partnered with the university and your partner. So we're very thrilled to be working together. although Ben does a phenomenal job at what he does, I know that he could not do it without the support of the university. So at the highest levels of the university, when NOAA really appreciates the commitment that not only CIMAS provides, but what the entire university provides to this partnership, I cannot overestimate how valuable that is. So I really appreciate the efforts of the university to support this, as well as the partner universities. It certainly has contributed greatly to the success and will contribute to the success moving forward. The last thing I want to mention is really what makes CIMAS CIMAS, and that is the dedicated scientists and employees that support the work that we're doing. Ben mentioned, as did Emily, the activities that the CIMAS employees have been working on, and particularly during this COVID situation, those CIMAS employees have made sacrifices that have benefited the nation. And so I think the University of Miami and its partners should be very proud of that. But I'm also very proud of the people and the scientists that we're working with. During this COVID situation, work still continues to fly those hurricane flights. And that requires particular protocols that really cause those employees to make sacrifices in their life. So I really appreciate that, as well as the ships and the cruises that we've had to go forward. We've been very attentive to the safety of our employees, and I'm very appreciative of the extra work and the things that they've done through this particular period. So it's those CIMAS employees that I really appreciate, as well as the university in terms of support. And we look forward to a very productive future. And so again, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, John. Clay?
Well, thank you for inviting me today. And it's really been great hearing about everything that CIMAS and its partners have been doing to advance science in our region. Southeast Fisheries Science Center has been working with CIMAS ever since it began back in the 70s. As Dr. DA mentioned, I did much of my graduate work funded through CIMAS fellowships back when Bill Fox was in Ben's position. And since then, we've only expanded our interactions with CIMAS, and CIMAS has become an integral part of our workforce, particularly in Miami, but also at some of our other laboratories. And for those of you who don't know, the Southeast Fisheries Science Center has about 350 employees spread across 6 major facilities, one located in Galveston, another in Lafayette, Pascagoula, Mississippi, Panama City, Florida, Beaufort, North Carolina, and then our headquarters where I am in Miami. And our mission is very broad. It's to provide the data and science needed for managing the living resources in the entire southeastern United States and Atlantic high seas. So that includes hundreds of species of fish managed under 3 fishery management councils, 2 state commissions, and the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tuna. So it also includes over 90 stocks of marine mammals and sea turtles, other protected resources, species like sawfish, corals, and of course the habitat they all live in. And then not to mention all the complex socioeconomics that drive the way we humans perceive and exploit these resources. So our mission is incredibly diverse. Our staff are spread really thin, and we know we can't do it alone. And that's where partners like CIMAS come in. You all contribute to just about every aspect of what we do, from field and lab research,
Clay, yeah. Hopefully Clay will come back, but if he doesn't, one thing I wanted to, before I get to some Q&A, I just wanted to thank John and Clay again, but I also wanted to thank our government relations folks and Deanna Udell, who helped organize this event and really championed it. And I'm really deeply indebted to them. I think it's going to help continue to make sure NOAA and CIMAS are able to inform our local community of just how important our collaboration is and our work is for our research is for their daily lives. So thank you to them also, and again to John and Clay and all of you that have joined. I believe I do have a few minutes to do Q&A. and I will, there's several questions in the Q&A. I'm going to start with Rosemary O'Hara's first question. The Florida legislature is having its organized session today. The new Senate president says it's critical that the legislator look long-term. So given the launch today and your call for science to be actionable, what would you like to say to your senators on this exciting day? I think the most important thing from my perspective is that we make sure the senators really take in the best available science in all the decision-making processes. Let's make sure the science underpins what they decide to do. That's what I think is most critical. And they can definitely reach out to the academic community, to CIMAS, to NOAA, to help provide that best available science when they start to make decisions about how they're going to plan for coastal resilience and coastal sustainability and all of those challenging questions. And so we would encourage them to do that. That's what I would say to the new Senate president. I have a second question from Rosemary O'Hara. The world continues to spew dangerous amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and the planet continues to get hotter. It appears that large parts of coastal Florida will be uninhabitable in a few decades. Are there plausible solutions, or should Florida start planning for an organized retreat? I think there are things that we need to do. This is a very difficult conversation, whether we have managed retreat or how we adapt our coastline in response to the changing climate. But I don't think we can have just an immediate answer to that question. This is a long-term horizon where we need to start making those very difficult decisions. What part of the community are we going to continue to invest to make resilient and survivable and a place that we want to continue to live and enjoy, and what parts that we're going to have to return to the natural environment? Those are long-term horizon decisions, and that planning should start now, and that thinking should start now, but we can't have immediate answers to those questions. What I worry about is that we're not actually taking on those really important questions, and we need to do that. Rosemary also says this collaborative involves Florida's biggest research universities. Yes, it does. How exactly does this work? Who does what and why? Why is it a collective effort? Does it help to get the funding? Does it give the effort added power or influence? If so, in what way? These are great questions. The real overriding goal here with the whole entire Cooperative Institute programs is to make expertise available to NOAA. Clay has returned. So let me just answer this question and then I'll let you finish up your comments, Clay. To give NOAA access to expertise. Those partners, there may be partners at Florida State University that have expertise that we don't have at the University of Miami. So this multi-institutional collaboration is to make sure that our partners at other institutions, Florida Institute of Technology, Florida International University, wherever it is, that they have that NOAA has access to that expertise. And the whole way the Cooperative Institute is to facilitate that access to expertise and to make sure that that expertise infuses NOAA's science mission. So it's an exchange of expertise, and by having this collaborative, we can keep an eye on where that expertise is and who can do what. And there are lots of moving parts. It's a challenge. Clay, let me turn to you to let you finish before we go.
Yeah, so I think where I cut off is I was just saying our mission's incredibly diverse. Our staff are spread really thin. We know we can't do it alone, and that's where partners like CIMAS come in. Again, you contribute to just about every aspect of what we do. I couldn't begin to cover it all in just a few minutes. Just to give you an idea, we have CIMAS partners working on cropperid coral genotyping, fisheries data and biological sampling, computer programming to help us manage the huge amounts of information received, GIS support, supporting integrated ecosystem assessments and ecosystem-based fishery management activities like our mid-Barataria sediment diversion work, red tide and harmful algal bloom work. We use CIMAS folks to lend statistics expertise to help us improve the way we estimate catch and bycatch. David mentioned stock assessment support, marine mammal sea turtle survey help. We run diver surveys using CIMAS employees in South Florida and the Caribbean, all kinds of basic research linking hydrodynamics and the environment to fish recruitment, just a huge gamut of things. And I think the key point is that CIMAS gives us the flexibility and capacity we need to meet those mission requirements. You bring the diversity and skills we need to do it better than we could by ourselves. In fact, we work so closely with you for so long, I think most of us just consider CIMAS staff to be part of the Southeast Fisheries Science Center family. We often really don't distinguish between, CIMAS staff and our own FTEs, and we forget that technically we have different employers. And in fact, as I think has already been mentioned, we end up hiring a lot of CIMAS employees as permanent staff. So it's also a pipeline for employment. And I think I just close on, I think this is a really exciting time to be a natural resource scientist. The technology and observing systems and artificial intelligence, genetics, and many other areas is just racing forward. We need people who are familiar with the state of the art and can advance us and change the way we do work. And so now more than ever, I think we need to tap into the capabilities that CIMAS, the University of Miami, and all your partners can bring to the table. And I'm just really looking forward to continuing this partnership and working with all of you in the years to come. So thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Right, thank you. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate all the comments. I think we're just about out of time. So what I'm going to do is pass the torch to Dean Avisar, and again, thank him for all his help with CIMAS over the years and in preparing this new award, and his support has been tremendous. He's really helped advise me all through the process and making sure we put forward our best. So Dean Avisar.
Thank you again, Ben. I do not have much to add, except that I want to thank everybody for participating in this event, and again, in particular for you, Ben, and your team for the leadership that you have provided for this partnership to continue. And of course, our collaborators across the street, as we call them. It's true that the physical distance, or the physical proximity, I should say, rather than distance, is a big factor in having such a powerful collaboration. And we really feel that it is an extremely important component of that collaboration. And I'm glad to hear that in the political arena, there is all interest, in maintaining that proximity the way that it is. We also believe that it is an important factor. So again, Ben and everybody, thank you so much for your efforts in not only in having this collaboration very active and very productive, but also for organizing this event, which is important to remind us of the importance of CIMAS, for Rosenstiel, for the University of Miami, for our collaborators, and of course for NOAA as well. So thank you, everybody. And now we have 5 years to work to make it even more productive than what it has been in the past. And we certainly intend, to do that. So thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming. Bye-bye.